I knew she was going to be great, and I knew that we needed a really great point guard to give us a shot, right? That we had some other pieces, but when you got her, that's when you started to really see that this kid was wired so differently and what she could do. I mean, she makes the extraordinary ordinary.
I believe growing her physical strength and her ability to exist in spaces against bigger, stronger athletes than what she faced in college. So obviously future Hall of Famer, and has had a great impact on the game already.
Caitlin Clark's arrival in the WNBA has created a massive buzz, not just because of her incredible talent, but also her magnetic personality that keeps drawing in new fans every day. The league is still adapting to her influence, struggling to find ways to contain the rising superstar. A challenge that's far easier said than done. Clark has become the focal point of every conversation, and it's no surprise that WNBA coaches are constantly asked about her during media sessions. While many try to remain diplomatic and avoid sparking controversy, they can't help but share thoughts on Caitlin's game-changing presence. Most focus on her performance and specific matchups, but when you look deeper, their words reveal fascinating insights about her future in the league. These head coaches hold unique perspectives. They're the ones who spend sleepless nights crafting strategies to stop Clark, and they're the ones blamed when those plans collapse, as they often do. That's why it's rare to find any disrespect in their comments. They understand her skill, set better than anyone, and know exactly why she's breaking records as a rookie. Still, that doesn't mean they're ready to crown her just yet. WNBA coaches are proud competitors, and a few show defiance when asked about Clark. After all, their role as motivators means every comment can reach their players' ears. No coach wants to give the impression that they admire an opponent more than their own team. Likewise, provoking Clark with dismissive remarks can backfire. The most revealing comments often come from coaches who've been in her shoes. Former WNBA stars like Becky Hammon, the six-time All-Star and current Las Vegas Aces coach. Known for her blunt honesty, Hammon didn't hold back when addressing the hype and controversy surrounding Caitlin Clark's arrival.
I think she's amazing. I watched every time I possibly could. And our league loves her. This has nothing to do. We're just doing our job. We're going to show up. Who is ever on the other team is on the other team. We don't really care. We're going to show up and do us. And so I think this narrative of like everybody hating on Caitlin Clark, and even the black and white thing, knock it off. It's not there.
Interview 2. Coach Hammon made it clear she respects Caitlin Clark, but also defended the WNBA veterans who made Clark's rookie season tough. The competitive culture of the league, she said, explains the tough love Clark receives, not the racial narratives pushed by certain media outlets. Hammon believes the focus should shift back to basketball, not off-court drama. People should just enjoy watching her hoop, she emphasized. The truth is, most WNBA coaches and players would love to have Caitlin on their roster. But since they can't, they downplay her greatness, the classic sour grapes mentality. A perfect example of this mindset came from Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve, who, back when Clark was at Iowa, gave a fiery speech about tanking for star players. She openly discussed the temptation to lose games intentionally to secure a high draft pick, which sparked plenty of debate.
It's just not how I would do things. If Glenn came to me and said, Cheryl, I want you to do that, I probably would step aside and say, let someone else do that. I don't believe in that. I think if you get there organically and that's what you deserve, great. I am never going to try to be in that situation. Caitlin Clark might make you want to lose every game, but not here.
Many coaches share Reeve's frustration, but her statement went a bit too far. Deliberately losing games for draft position is viewed as unsportsmanlike and often backfires. Mentioning team owners and Clark by name added unnecessary controversy. Whether any teams actually tried this remains unclear, but it's fair to say that a few didn't mind losing given the strength of the 2024 draft class. Interestingly, Cheryl Reeve's tone has since evolved. Her recent comments about Clark are filled with admiration and respect. What she says now reflects not frustration, but recognition of how extraordinary Clark's transition to the WNBA has been.
I believe growing her physical strength and her ability to exist in spaces against bigger, stronger athletes than what she faced in college. So obviously a future Hall of Famer, and has had a great impact on the game already.
Every young player needs time to adapt to the pro level, and it was expected that the Indiana Fever would experience growing pains early on. As Caitlin Clark settled into her new environment, the team's chemistry noticeably improved. Stephanie White, a former Fever player and now head coach of the Connecticut Sun and reigning Coach of the Year, offered an insightful take on Indiana's progress. She observed that the Fever's growth mirrored Clark's adjustment period, noting how the team gradually began to understand her rhythm and playmaking vision.
Well, I think anytime you're a young team that's really growing into yourself, the understanding of one another, the timing, the pace, the connectedness just wasn't quite there early. It's there now. Everybody on the floor understands how, when, and where Caitlin Clark can get them the ball, and so they get there.
I think when you're a young team still learning each other's timing, pace, and connection, it takes a while, White explained, but it's there now. Everyone knows when and where Caitlin can find them. Her analysis was one of the most balanced evaluations of Clark's season. The Fever's early struggles were obvious in their record, but their recent surge speaks volumes about Clark's leadership and her teammates' efforts. White acknowledged Clark's influence, but urged patience, reminding everyone that greatness takes time. This sentiment echoes throughout the league, especially among experienced coaches who see the long-term potential of the Fever's young core. One such voice is New York Liberty coach Sandy Brondello, a respected former player from Australia, who gave a thoughtful response when asked about Caitlin Clark's impact, drawing from her first-hand observations during head-to-head matchups.
Look, she's a great young talent, and you have to remember that she's a young talent. She's coming into the WNBA for the first time. She's going to be a really good player. I know that much. But it's hard coming in as a number one. When's the last time a number one pick has come in and dominated from the start? And I think she's had some really good moments. She had 20 in the first game. You were able to keep her to single digits in that last game. But very capable. Can't leave her open. So I think the whole game plan's around her, and she's going to be a player that will continue to grow because I think she's a quick learner. She's got high basketball IQ. So she's going to be okay.
Brondello pointed out something many overlook: the immense pressure placed on Caitlin Clark. From being a college sensation and media superstar to the number one overall pick in one of the strongest draft classes ever, her transition to the pros has been remarkably smooth. Facing relentless defensive schemes from veteran coaches hasn't slowed her down. In fact, it's refined her game. Clark continues to evolve into a more complete player, though no one can yet predict how high her ceiling truly is. Meanwhile, Los Angeles Sparks coach Curt Miller remains confident that she can still be contained, at least sometimes. After splitting 2 games with the Fever, he praised Clark's offensive brilliance, but was quick to credit his defense for adapting to her style. His comments captured the respectful rivalry developing around Caitlin Clark. Admiration mixed with competitive fire, a perfect reflection of how she's already reshaping the entire WNBA conversation.
She's so talented and she draws so much attention. And then, what's so underrated about her is her passing. Tonight, she was able to get to the foul line a lot, which supplemented her offense. But, I thought we did a pretty good job both games on her.
Coach Miller doesn't appear overly impressed by Caitlin Clark's performances. Either he's masking his thoughts well, or he genuinely believes her scoring mainly came from free throws. Clark poured in 30 points in one matchup and nearly notched a triple-double in another. Yet to Miller, that still represented solid defensive execution. He's far from alone in downplaying her brilliance. Many coaches prefer to highlight their defensive efforts over acknowledging her dominance. This has become a familiar theme in post-game pressers, regardless of the results. Among them, Washington Mystics coach Eric Thibault stood out. As the team's lead strategist, he remained fiercely loyal to his players, individually crediting each defender who took on the tough task of guarding Clark and emphasizing their collective effort above all.
I think we did a pretty good job one-on-one. They started running her off more screens, and that's a little tougher. You know, Dee Dee's big, trying to navigate all those screens. I thought we did a pretty good job one-on-one. Ariel took a turn on her down the stretch too, you know, trying to keep Ariel out of foul trouble a little bit early in the game. Hey, she makes a tough shot. We forced her into 8 turnovers, but she made some tough-ass shots. So credit to Caitlin.
While Coach Eric deserves recognition for defending his players, it's clear he's undervaluing what Caitlin Clark brings to the court. Anyone familiar with the game knows she's far more than a shooter running off screens. Clark is the heartbeat of Indiana's offense, an elite playmaker who controls tempo, creates space, and finds open teammates effortlessly. Her turnovers only tell part of the story. Her vision and execution define her. Despite resistance from some coaches, Clark's influence is impossible to ignore. Attendance is soaring, sponsors are investing, and viewership is at an all-time high, largely because of her. While most WNBA coaches avoid giving her credit for this, one rival coach wasn't afraid to speak up. South Carolina's Dawn Staley, who defeated Clark in the 2024 NCAA title game, showed immense respect for her impact on women's basketball during her post-game remarks.
And I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport. She carried a heavy load for our sport, and it just is not going to stop here on the collegiate tour. But when she is the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, she's gonna lift that league up as well. So
Dawn Staley's comments after that game stood out for their grace and foresight. Instead of centering herself in victory, she praised Caitlin for elevating the sport and predicted a bright WNBA future for her. Those words, emotional yet insightful, now sound prophetic. Staley recognized what many professionals already sensed, that Clark's influence extends far beyond box scores. Interestingly, one of her toughest WNBA rivals, Phoenix Mercury's head coach Nate Tibbetts, echoed that same sentiment later. He broke down her game with analytical precision, describing Clark as a nightmare for defenses and forecasting that her growth would make her nearly impossible to contain. His tone wasn't one of rivalry, but of respect, and a warning to every other team in the league.
Yeah.
What makes it effective is Clark's shooting ability and passing ability. She puts a lot of pressure on you with, both areas. She can come off and shoot it, but then she's a great passer. And the more she's in the league, she's even going to become a better passer because she's going to see everything. Coaches, teams are throwing everything at her. And, that's what great players see. The more reps they get at it, they're going to continue to improve. And she has that ability to improve.
Coach Tibbetts summarized it perfectly. Caitlin Clark is already an offensive powerhouse. Give her an inch, and she'll score. Overcommit, and she'll find the open teammate. Any tricky defensive scheme might confuse her briefly, but she adapts faster than anyone expected. The WNBA is gradually realizing that Clark isn't a temporary sensation. She's the future. Some coaches may downplay her achievements out of frustration with the constant attention. But pretending she's not reshaping the league helps no one. Take the Chicago Sky, for instance. Their physical tactics to contain her sparked controversy. Yet head coach Teresa Weatherspoon insists that the narrative should stay focused purely on basketball.
But their coach, Teresa Weatherspoon, still thinks that all the talk about non-basketball stuff is misguided.
It has been a lot of talk. To talk about women's basketball is pretty big. It's a big thing. It's huge. But what you want it to be spoken about is the game, the skill, the talent, versatility, how hard we play, what they have to do to be able to step between those 4 lines all the time. And to talk about competitors. They're out there to compete to go win.
Playing with intensity and toughness is part of the game. But ignoring the excessive contact and hostility directed at Clark feels disingenuous. Teresa Weatherspoon knows what Clark means for the WNBA's evolution. Yet, she prefers to steer the discussion toward fundamentals. Even so, Caitlin's composure and elite play keep her in the headlines regardless. Whether it's the Sky, their rookie Angel Reese, or other rivals, Clark's name dominates the conversation. Meanwhile, Seattle Storm coach Noelle Quinn has chosen a different path. Recognizing Clark's greatness instead of resisting it, Quinn has been outspoken in her admiration, outlining the precise skills that make Clark special and calling her one of the rarest talents the game has seen in years.
She's a good player. Shot making ability, deep. We don't talk enough about her passing. Her being 6 feet, she can see a lot, make a lot of reads, and obviously teams are being aggressive on her, and she's still, finding ways to, score, get to the rim, and assist her teammates. She's confident, she's poised, she's different, she's a beast. We talk about her being a generational talent. She has a lot of talent, and she's going to continue to keep getting better.
Coach Quinn's perspective mirrors what fans already know. Caitlin Clark is revolutionizing women's basketball. As she continues to pile up wins and record-breaking performances, more coaches will have no choice but to acknowledge her greatness. Clark's game is evolving the WNBA, adding NBA-style speed, confidence, and creativity. When Quinn labeled her a generational talent, it wasn't just flattery. It was recognition of a player changing the sport's DNA. The person who knows this best, though, is Indiana Fever head coach Christy Sides. Her connection with Clark goes beyond strategy. It's built on mutual belief and shared vision. When asked about the Rookie of the Year race, Sides didn't hesitate to voice her admiration.
First and foremost, she's the most competitive human being I've ever met. I really compare her to Diana Taurasi. She's always looking to find ways to get better. How can I help the team? What can we do? But she found her rhythm tonight. The timing for our players is getting better every game. So some of the ones that, some of the shots that, those passes that she was making early, we just weren't ready for them. Now that chemistry is there, that timing is there, and that's going to keep getting better. But she just wants to win. She just wants to win, and to me, she's going to be my Rookie of the Year every day.
Coach Christy Sides went beyond simply naming Caitlin Clark as her Rookie of the Year pick. She praised her competitive fire, leadership, and unrelenting drive. Drawing comparisons to WNBA legends, Sides also emphasized that individual success must align with team growth. She highlighted how Indiana's chemistry has flourished alongside Clark's development, crediting her for making teammates better every night. Having worked closely with her, Sides offers the most authentic insight into Caitlin's transformation. In just a few short months, Clark has earned the respect of nearly every coach in the league, a rare feat for a rookie. She'll continue facing new challenges and tougher defenses, but at only 22, she's already proving she can handle the pressure. As many coaches now quietly admit, her journey is only beginning, and the WNBA is witnessing the rise of a future legend who might soon add multiple championships to her resume.